Hey, it's Sean from Tested. We're back with some more Formlabs products. We haven't talked about Formlabs for a little bit since our trip to check out the Fuse 1 last year. But as a refresher, the Form 2 released a few years ago. We did a full video and write-up review on those you can check out on the site. But it's an SLA resin printer, so it uses a laser to cure liquid resin to get very detailed prints, such as our old friend, the scuttlefish here. So we have the tray of liquid resin, it sticks to the platform here, and then you pull it out and wash it and cure it. So typically what we'd have to do with this is you can see that there's still some goo left on there from the resin. And the Form 2 comes with a very simple washing station. It's 2 plastic containers, you fill them with isopropyl alcohol, hopefully 99%, and you do one wash, which is like the first initial, you soak it a little bit, you get most of the goop off, that's your dirty wash, and then you have a clean rinse, which is the second bin, and I typically end up using like a toothbrush or something like that to get into little details on especially something like the scuttlefish. That has worked fine for me. And then to further that, there'd maybe be a post-cure where you would take and UV cure that just a little bit more to get the full physical properties of the resin. And typically you would do a DIY box made with a like a nail salon UV cure for nail polish. Formlabs even released a video showing you how to do that. I did one myself. It's a simple box lined with foil with a UV nail salon thing on top. And you'd bake things maybe like 1 to 3 hours depending on the materials. These are their official like replacements for those and a lot fancier than a cardboard box of nail salon UV. So let's talk a little bit about the Form Wash. Form Wash is fully automated. So the idea is when you're done, you're gonna take your printout, you're gonna put it in this vat of alcohol. We are empty right now, so we can take a look at the insides. And you can either take and use the basket for small stuff, or you can actually take the entire platform and slide it in here and wash it that way. Now, the only problem with this is that you're gonna need an extra platform if you need to continue printing while this is washing. A typical wash cycle is probably like 15 minutes. On certain items that are really detailed, I might go a little bit longer, but it's a very simple interface. There is literally start, how many minutes you want, and then a sleep or stop. So it's pretty straightforward. If you're going to use the platform wash function, like we have set up here, you're going to need a whopping 2 gallons of alcohol, which is a lot. And to be truthful, to get to the fill lines, which are here at the top, you need slightly more than that because you need to be able to reach the top of the platform to get everything washed properly. I have found that finding this much alcohol can be difficult because you don't want to go to Walgreens or whatever and pick up a bunch of little tiny bottles. Amazon have had mixed success getting boxes of alcohol, but the best suggestion I have is to get it from Florida Laboratories Incorporated, which is where Formlabs sent the alcohol to me from. And I checked them out. They're a dental supply place. You can get 4 gallons of alcohol with free shipping for $76, and that is by far the best price I have found anywhere. So Florida Laboratories Incorporated, check them out. So once this is filled up and you're ready to go, you simply hit the go. It's gonna sink down inside with whether you're using the platform or the basket. Sometimes the lid goes down by itself, sometimes you gotta do it yourself, it's just on a hinge. And then the impeller is gonna start, and it has a magnetic impeller very much like chemistry class. So let's take a look at that. So I'm gonna take this to get it out of the way. One thing I should point out is if you are going to do the platform method, I would highly recommend taking the scraper and scraping off any of this loose extra resin back into the tray because this is just polluting your alcohol needlessly. Their estimate is you would get about 70 wash cycles per like full tray. I have yet to swap out my alcohol. I've topped it off because I find there's a little bit more evaporation going on with this than on the standard setup. But I haven't had to do a full swap yet. So I love how this is designed because it has the mechanism that pops up like this, and then this whole thing just pulls out. So if you do need to swap this out, it's easy to do. And I should also mention that they include a siphon pump in the kit. Like if you've ever had a siphon gas or like an old kerosene heater, it's exactly that thing, which makes it easy transferring from this to one of the jugs. So that is a nice touch. This whole top comes off, has a spring-loaded panel, which is your seal and your drain. And let's take a look inside. Here, you can see our magnetic impeller. So like I said, it's like chem class. If you had one of those magnetic stirrers that you put the little pellet in the beaker and it spins around, exactly the same idea. So there's no mechanical interface. And basically it will spin one direction for about half the time and then reverse, so you're getting all angles washed. And this has worked flawlessly for me. I've had no problems whatsoever. I also love this design feature, these little fold-out panels that have all of your tools. So you have your good old scraper, you have some tweezers, you have your handy flush cutters, and you have your fancy scraper for getting under the little special divots that they put on the supports. And then you have this crazy looking guy, which is another awesome feature that I love in addition to the siphon pump. This is a hydrometer, and this will measure your IPA concentration to tell you when you need to swap it. So the idea is when you first get it, it's all fresh, you float it in there, and you set the little O-ring to right above the tiny fins. You measure your IPA every once in a while. When the float goes below the top tall fins, it's time to swap it out. You're getting too saturated. It's going to lose its effectiveness as far as cleaning your prints. So those are all nice. They tuck away here. They fold shut out of the way, and you're good to go. All right, so we would fill this up, slide this back in. You can leave this out if you're using the platform, but in case anything falls off, I would leave it. And there you go. Okay, so once you're all nice and clean, you're gonna remove that from the platform using your flush cutters, and you're gonna move to the cure station. So the typical resins like the gray, white, clear, the regular ones, you can get away with not curing those a lot of the times. If you're gonna be doing a lot of finishing work like sanding or whatever, you want to do that. But if it's just going to be literally put on display or maybe painted, you're probably fine without it. So the cure station, it's using 405 nanometer wavelength UV lights, which is the same wavelength as the laser in this, so it does that final cure perfectly. It has UV lights on the sides. It has one in the bottom underneath this turntable. Right there, and it has reflectors. So the turntable goes about 1 revolution per minute, and it has a heated chamber. So it will preheat this to usually about 60 degrees for most of the resins, and then it just helps it to bake even better and more thoroughly. Typical cure time on this is 30 to 60 minutes, I would say, and average temperature is around 60. If you're getting into more engineering resins like the durable, you might have to go a little longer or a little higher temperature, like about 80 degrees. Which brings me to another, my only gripe about this particular item is that it has a pretty simple interface. It's got start, your time, and your heat. For the pricing on these, I would like to see like dial in like durable material, full cure, partial cure, or and it would just set everything for you. And there is a USB interface on the back here that I would think that maybe down the road there could be a firmware upgrade for that. But as of right now, it is just a chart that you print out. You dial in the temperature and the time and you hit start. Not a big deal, but I was a little surprised about that. And basically you just simply put your prints in here. You can leave the supports on if you want. You can fill the tray as much as possible. You dial in your temperature and time and hit start. After it preheats, which I have turned off right now, it will kick on the UV lights and do its thing and just revolve the turntable until it's done. Like I said, regular resins you can get away without, but the durable engineering resins and the flexibles and stuff, you probably want to use it. So let's talk about the pricing on this. $4.99 for the wash, $6.99 for the cure. And they have a bundle deal where you can get the Form 2, the wash, the cure, and 1-year Pro Plan support for just under $5,000. And that gives you about $200 off the normal price for that. And then the Pro Plan will give you a customized support line, hot swapping printers when you have a problem, so they'll send you one before you even send yours back. One-on-one, you have the option of getting customized video support and training lessons, and some other features which are nice. So if you're heavy into production and you're going to be using it for that type of work, that's not a bad idea. I know some are going to be like, well, these are a ton of money, they're kind of pricey. And for your average home user, this may not be for you, but they're trying to cater to a lot of different levels of user out there. So these are nice to have. I've been totally spoiled by the wash. I don't want to give this up because I have left things soaking in alcohol too long and ruined them. I've done a lot of toothbrush scrubbing, and this kind of just eliminated all of that. This thing is fantastic and I love it. The cure, for a lot of the stuff that I print, I could probably do without this and get by with my DIY UV box or something similar. But if you have the money to spend, these are not a bad investment for your particular production setup. So check them out. Check out the Form 2 review and video that we did a few years ago. We go really in depth on it. And I'm going to leave you with the most important feature of all of these, which you will use the most.